So this document, like I said, includes description of each level and typical duties for that level, and again, at the bottom is some knowledge and experience required for that position. So if you were to be hired by Mashad Cooley, you'd start out as a designer in training. It's an entry-level position, and it basically is more of a production position, and it's built on the fundamentals of electrical design. Typical duties is proficient in the use of computer programs such as CAD, Revit, and some other software tools such as power tools, etc. You perform routine duties such as circuiting. Try to encourage to solve engineering problems using judgment and experience, and you're encouraged to ask for assistance when needed. It's basically a learning position, so we're trying to help you along. Input into data into pre-written programs, again like power tools or some program like that. You'll probably get into some research of equipment through catalogs, trying to determine the right products for the right solution, and prepare drawings of designs that either you come up with or the engineer is directing you to do. And then this one, I get a kick out of this one. This is on the every single level of our position at our office, is maintain a neat and organized work area. If you've ever seen mine, it's not neat or organized. Basic knowledge and experience required. Basically, no design experience is required for this level. It is an entry-level position. It is required to have a technical degree from a program like this. And then you're encouraged to attend in-house seminars and stuff like that to continue to learn, continue education. From that position, you move on to what we call a staff designer position. This is the next level up, and it provides the majority of the work in our office. This is where you're doing some design work, you're inputting your design into the computer system, and you're doing a lot of independent work in this position. Some typical duties would be doing calculations using engineering formulas, such as lighting calculations, coming up with power distribution designs, and sizing equipment. You'll be doing a lot of branch circuiting and schematic design work. Starting to work on specialized drawings such as one-lines or riser diagrams. Again, you're selecting equipment based on the designer or engineer you're working with, and a lot of this is on your own. Basically, just go ask questions when needed. Providing drawings, your own design, and sketches. So you might come up with an idea for a sketch, sit down with the engineer or project manager. He may tweak it again, and you go and put it into the CAD system. Researching of design options. This is an important part of this position, where you are doing a lot of research to come up with your design before it gets implemented. Providing information to the designer and project manager. So if you find things out, you bring stuff to him to get his input. At this level, you'll be starting to review shop drawings. You'll get the shop drawings in on the project. You go through them and make sure they meet our specifications and design. Researching code issues. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the code book. It's going to be something you access almost every day. Also, kind of a quality control thing, we want to make sure our designs meet our company standards. So part of it will be just making sure the product looks like the product we want to produce. And another part of this project, or part of this position, is keeping the project manager informed of your workload so that it can be scheduled. Right now, I'm missing it right now, but this every Monday morning or Tuesday when we have holidays, we have a staffing meeting. Project managers get together and determine what their needs are for the week from the staff, so we can schedule everybody, make sure everybody's full, make sure somebody's not overbooked. Knowledge and experience for this level is minimum 2 years design experience, so you'd need to be in that entry-level position for about 2 years. Again, the technical degree from a facility like this. You need to be pretty good at computer data input and the use of the programs, and you need to be very well versed with the codes at this point. And again, continue learning processes by attending seminars and taking advantage of continuing education opportunities. The next position on the next page would be the project designer. And if you reach this level, you're basically designing things almost independently. Experienced position, non-routine and complex assignments. Works with the project manager to develop design concepts. Role, you're basically a project leader, so you'll probably be directing work. You'll be directing the work of others at this point, and you'll be doing some project management, and you'll be working in technical aspects. Keep in mind that all of these positions have overlaps. I mean, it's not a cut and dry, you're here one day, you're there the next. There's overlaps to these positions, and you'll be doing stuff beyond your listed expertise before you get promoted to that next position. And if you have any questions while I'm going, just go ahead and ask. It'll just be fairly open, and if you have questions, just throw them out here. Some of the typical duties of a project designer would be schematic design information, coming up with preliminary sizes for electrical rooms and size requirements, developing a task list. So you sit down, you look at your project, and you have to figure out what it is you need done so you can prioritize the most important items and get those done first. Incorporating design concepts from schematic design and design development, and then finally working those into construction documents. Again, you're doing sketches for schematic systems and coming up with some design tasks. Laying out electrical rooms. This is one of the most important things we do, is make sure our rooms fit and they're sized right. Worst thing you can do is get a call from a contractor that halfway through construction they say stuff doesn't fit. You'll be coordinating ceiling and wall clearances with the mechanical department and other people in the office. We have a whole slew of standard details in our office, and we'll be deciding which of those details are appropriate for the project. We'll also be going into the field and document existing conditions. You'll probably start to edit specification sections at this time. We have standard specs, which we have in-house pre-written, and those have to be modified and edited for every particular job as we go. So you'll start editing those sections to the specific job you're working on. Start working on some control sequences. And this is more of a mechanical thing, the temperature control systems. These documents are designed for both mechanical and electrical staff, so there's some overlap here. You'll start to attend construction meetings and do on-site observations. You'll be responsible for doing final inspections and punch lists for the completed projects. Researching of non-code related or non-routine code items. That's again get into the code book where you're going to have to start researching things that aren't really typical. You'll be preparing addendums and change orders based on changes that happen as the project commences through construction. Start doing cost estimates for projects. That's what we call opinions of probable costs. And along with that, value engineering for projects over budget. You'll need to come up with ideas of where we can change things to save some money and get the project back in line. Reviewing drawings and documents to assure compliance with design standards again. And become a project leader, coordinating staff activities to meet the goals of budget and schedule and hopefully profitability. On to the next page. Again, use of computer programs such as spreadsheets for engineering analysis and editing of Word documents, and being familiar with our file system where to save things so you can find them in the future. Knowledge and experience required. This position requires 8 years of design experience, a total of 8 that is. It's not a cumulative thing. Technical degree. And again, be proficient in use of computer programs for design, understanding CAD and Revit, and a good general knowledge of electrical design systems. Now understanding and knowledge of codes as well, and you got to keep current again with online seminars and things like that. The other thing that's not on here, which you probably should add, is with the advent of LEED, you want to be up to speed with the LEED requirements and become LEED accredited. LEED is Leadership of Engineering and Design. I believe it's the right acronym. I don't know if you guys have been exposed to that much.
Not really.
It's a sustainability, basically. It's energy efficient buildings, recycling, reuse of material. You'll get into that once you get out into the workforce. At this point in your career path, if you're at Mashad Cooley, you have the option to go two different directions. You can either go into the staff or the senior designer role, which would be basically just staying in the design role and working with design, or you could go the project management route. So first I'll go through the senior designer position, and when I'm done with that, we'll go into project management. So if you're not interested in project management, you still have a next level you could get to, and you're doing more advanced designs without being a project manager. This is a top level position, works pretty much independently under the role of a group leader or project manager. It may be overseeing the entire design, it may be just portions of it, and working on several projects at a time. You'll have extensive experience in all areas of electrical design, and kind of be recognized as an expert or a leader in your field. And it says at the bottom, this position is intended for a technical expert who does not desire full-time project management responsibility. Typical duties of the senior designer is assess the project requirements and break a project into different tasks that can be worked on by you or some other staff. Write the scope of the work for the project. Attend preliminary meetings and meet with the client to determine their needs. Prepare engineering studies and schematic designs for analysis. So you're basically starting from scratch and developing the systems for a building. You'll have to have knowledge of applicable codes and work with code officials and other design professionals for code interpretations and exceptions to codes. Sign and review work of project teams, so you'll be handing off tasks to other people and then reviewing their work once they're completed with their stuff. And alerting your project manager to scope changes that might have fee increase associated with them. You're going to be reviewing applications for payments from the contractors. Once the project gets started, the contractors send in pay apps saying that they've spent so much of their contract and they're due to pay. You have to make sure that that's in line with how much the construction has already been completed on the job site. Coordinate all aspects of project management from the completion to design. Coordinate with our clients and other design professionals. You should be proficient in written and oral communication skills at this point. And prepare or review construction budgets. Again, make sure our designs meets company production standards, and you're also assisting in the education and development of new staff. So you'll be teaching and mentoring other people that are coming in at a lower entry-level position. Requirement for this position is 12 years experience. Again, the degree from institute such as Dunwoody. Proficient in design programs again. And general knowledge of electrical systems, communication systems, lighting systems, low voltage, and energy conservation. Then moving on to our other position that you could go to from this entry-level position, the project manager. And this is responsible, project manager is responsible for basically the entire project. He supervises all the team members and coordinates budgets and fees. Makes sure that the design meets contractual agreements the firm has made, and make sure it gets completed on time and within budget. Typical duties of a project manager. Receive project assignments from the owners of the firm or the principals. Participates in preparing the proposals and fees, and is often responsible for the entire proposal. Sometimes you'll be required to participate in an interview where you go and you try to sell your services to a client. There might be 3 or 4 people vying for the same job, 3 or 4 companies. You go and represent the firm and try to get that project in-house. Preparation of contracts. Understands requirements of the contract and the client. Again, developing task list of the work that has to be done for the project. Dealing with budgets and schedules. This is probably the biggest part of this project, or biggest part of this position, is projects and budgets, or budget and schedules, I should say. You'll pick team members from the staff to work on your project. Assign tasks to those people. Schedule them again, budget and schedule on here again. Answers questions and gives guidance to the team members. Again, you're a mentor. Responsible for the accuracy and quality of all the work. Monitors the project's tasks to maintain the budget, schedule, and scope. Request approval before performing services outside of the scope. So if the client all of a sudden decides to add 10,000 square feet to the building, you'll prepare a extra services fee and get permission to, or get authorization for that fee before you start the work. Reviewing invoices before they're sent to clients to make sure that the billings match the work that's been done. Collection of past due accounts. From time to time, clients don't pay their bills right on time. You have to call and bug them to get paid. Happens all the time. Watches for problems and issues on a project, and if something's going south, talk to the principals and warn them of it. There are litigations out there on all sorts of stuff. Develops technical competence of team members. Again, a mentor, trying to help people learn. Responsible for the written work submitted to the client. Maintains contact with the client during design and construction. You want to make sure you're talking with your client to make sure that everything's happening to meet their needs and they're happy. Promotes use and participates in development of design and production standards. So now you're at a level where you're developing those production standards to make sure things are done correctly and can be understood by the contractors who are going to be putting the projects together. And again, a neat and organized desk. This position requires either a bachelor's degree in engineering with 8 years experience or a technical degree with 10 years experience. Again, proficient in the use of computer design. Knowledgeable in all aspects of electrical systems, and have recognized expertise in one of the areas such as communication systems, lighting, construction coordination, or energy conservation. Encouraged to participate in technical societies, and you have to stay current with your job specialty through continuing education. And also you have to be capable of managing multiple projects at this point, because you're going to be dealing with anywhere from 3 to 6 to 10 projects that will be under your belt you'll be responsible for. Ran through that kind of quick, and that's just the typical career path that you'd find at Mashad Cooley if you came to work here. I'll open it up to any questions.
You guys have any questions?
What about like for project management? If you're actually got electrical experience and some, project management experience, would something like that be considered as part of?
I mean, previous experience as in the field.
Yeah, but actually not that title.
Well, and what we do is when we get a new person in, we take a look at what their experience is. We have a lot of people who are contractors, and then they switch to the engineering field, and that level of expertise adds to their total years of experience, because working in the field is very enlightening. I'll put it that way. I've never had that opportunity, but anyone who's worked in the field gains a lot of knowledge in design.
Todd, do you say a few things about, like, I noticed that develop expertise in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say a few things about, like, develop expertise in lighting, develop expertise in
The level of expertise?
Yeah, we said when you become a project manager, you're expected to develop expertise, high-level expertise in certain aspects, like lighting, communication.
Yeah, and the reason we say that is because we have project managers who are basically lighting designers, and they don't get into any distribution. They're just basically in our office would be Greg Leckner. He has worked in the lighting field for many years, and he is very proficient in lighting design, particularly. If you asked him to lay out a distribution system, he wouldn't know where to begin. His expertise is lighting and lighting mainly. We also have people in our office who are low voltage specialists, be it low voltage like Cat 5, Cat 6 cabling or fire alarm systems, or even AV design. And those people, again, they don't get involved with lighting design or distribution design. Or you have probably the majority of the people are designers and they have distribution and power experience. So just because you specialize in lighting or low voltage doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to work your way up to a project management position. Does that answer what you're looking for? Like I said, all these positions overlap. There's some people who chomp at the bit and they want to get to that next level very quickly, and they're always striving to do more and grow and learn more. And there's some people who want to learn a little slower and take it a little bit easier. So those guidelines on years of experience, again, there's some fluff in that as well.
What does a project manager mean?
What do you make?
Yeah.
Now, I don't have the exact ranges with me. It's a pretty wide range. I wouldn't even want to venture to guess at this point. It depends on your experience and your years of experience, and depends on a lot of things. I should have brought that. What Guy mentioned that he'd gone over some of that before, but I didn't have a chance to grab that information before I left. But we do have ranges for each of these positions, a salary range, if you will, for each of the positions.
I can throw a number that I think I heard one time, probably from $60,000 to $90,000.
That'd probably be about right, yeah. Depending on the
Where
experience.
you are, the experience, and all this stuff. So
What about the entry level?
I'm not sure what our entry level is. There again, I should have brought that paperwork with me.
Then
I'm not sure what people are
they
doing.
have over the years, Michelle, because we're in with you guys for years. They paid from mostly higher than anybody else, from the 18 all the way to $23 as an entry level, depending where you sit and what your best experience. We had students who had master electrician came to you guys with a lot of experience in the field, and they paid them up to $23.
And I know that depending on the industry, depending on what's happening out there, the wages change. I know a couple years ago we were spending a lot of money to bring people in because
you're right.
there was nobody out there and there were a lot of jobs open.
Yeah,
So
take this
wages
into
were up.
consideration. Things change.
Now the economy's slid back a little bit and things have leveled out.
Todd, I would like you to, because I would like you to go over what's your expectation, guys, from people who graduate from this program. Expectation of knowledge. Because we throw a lot of stuff at them. Here's an estimating software they will be using, a lot of stuff. Like you said, some lighting guys don't even touch the power. We do lighting, power, low voltage, everything estimated. So what do you guys as an engineering firm, what's your expectation from day one, a student like Brad and Josh coming to your firm?
I would guess that the first week or so is going to be getting just used to our computer system and how we set up drawings in CAD, how we save them to make sure we can access them at a moment's notice. You'll probably be given red lines from a project manager or designer and incorporate those red lines into the CAD system. You may be asked to do some circuiting fairly quickly where the outlets and lighting are laid out in the plan. You got panel board schedules. We might tell you to circuit it up and bring it to somebody for review. Basically, initially, it's going to be a lot of production work. It's going to be a lot of inputting the design into the CAD system. There'll probably be a little bit working with power tools, getting loads into power tools, and maybe even setting up some risers in power tools if you are familiar with it.
Power tools for Windows.
Power tools for Windows.
Build the one-line diagram and fit it.
Building, you may not build it right away, but you might initially take a one line that's already built and edit it. Then after just a few months, you'll probably be asked to build one lines on your own in power tools. But mainly it is a production position where you are producing documents. You are working on CAD most of the time and just taking the sketches and ideas from a designer and getting it into CAD. Probably went too quick, didn't I?
No, that's fine. It's always nice, you know, to show what
Yeah.
expectation.
And again, if you're a type of person that strives to learn and excel, you might take the next steps quicker than somebody else. I mean, if you take a design given to you by a designer and you do that and then go beyond that, that'd be great. Thinking out of the box, doing something beyond the minimum you're asked to do is always a plus. And like I said, this is just a typical career path from Mashad Cooley. I'm sure other companies have similar design career paths, or they might be different. But this is what you might expect if you came to work with us.
I do have one question for you too, based on my experience with Elevate Beckett.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to log in a timesheet? Can you just walk in?
Yeah,
You
the
have to
timesheet.
account for your time to
Yep.
the project.
Because we're basically selling our design services, we are logging all of our hours to a project that we're working on, or a number of projects we're working on. Or if you're working on overhead, there's an overhead number. Timesheets used to be done by hand years ago, but now it's a computer-based program where you go in and call up the timesheet and put your hours every day into the program and what you worked on and what phase of that project it is. So whether it's schematic design, design development, construction documents, bidding, or construction. So you log your time. Basically every hour you work is logged into a job number, and then that gets totaled into the system, and we get a report Monday mornings to see what everybody's worked on the week before. So since we do charge for our design services, all we can bill is our time, so we charge our time and we keep track of it very seriously. Other things we could touch on.
That's a major thing, is from when you work at an engineering firm, you can't just walk into a project and start charging your time to this project.
No.
You'll be called up, at least my experience with Elevate, you'll be called up on it if you start putting a lot of hours against one project. You know, they keep track of the hours to that particular project. So
we try to keep track of if you're charging too much time to overhead too.
and
And you know, if you start out of the box from Shot Cooley, we realize there's a learning curve. So your first couple weeks, you'll probably be charging a good portion of your time to an overhead number or training, just because you're not working. That thing keeps falling off. You're not working specifically on a job, getting maybe a lot of stuff done. You're working on learning. So your first couple weeks, you'll be charging a lot of time to R&D and training. And then as you progress, start learning more and start getting some real work done, then you become billable. Start getting your hours charged to the project. Give me a faulty button.
And the key point, guys, if you work in an engineering firm, is always check with the project manager to which number you charge to. I found this is really interesting. Before you start pulling, at the end of the day, your sheet, 8 hours, and you need to account for every basically half an hour at least of your time.
Yeah, I think
Make sure you coordinate with the project manager before you charge.
I'm not sure if we break it down past a half an hour increments. I mean, we might go at 15-minute increments, but we just go half-hour increments. And like I said, make sure it's charged to the exact job number you're working on, project number, and then we have at the end of the job number is a task code where we track mechanical and electrical time separately, and we track the phase of the project if you're working on construction documents versus construction administration.
One little advice about the overhead is you'd better be overhead than charging a project that you did not work on, or overcharging a project that you're working on. That's kind of my experience with Elevate Beckett. It really is.
Yeah.
So you better be overhead, because if you're overhead, guys, when the project manager pull all this information, they know you're charging overhead. What we did at Elevate is I know that you're not that busy, so I can farm you out to a different project. So they know at least we need to keep you busier. At least that's what we did at Elevate.
Yep, and like I said, we have Monday morning staffing meetings where we look at who's working on what, try to determine who's light, or lately it's been who's overbooked. A lot of times we have people scheduled for 60 hours a week, and we know they're not going to be working 60. So we try to move that workload towards somebody else so that we don't overwhelm one person and have another person charging overhead.
The question on behalf of them, in the past, I'm picking questions what the students asked in the past. How is Michelle Cooley, if somebody
Sure, it's been
decided,
a long weekend, right?
if Michelle Cooley, Eric said, if one of the students decided to go get their bachelor, how is Michelle Cooley pay for continuing ed or bachelor or something? That has always
It's a good
been.
question. I don't know what our policy is on that. We encourage it, but I don't know that we have any incentive necessarily monetarily to do it.
Okay.
The monetary incentive would be once you gain your degree, you'd be more valuable, you'd get a raise.
Okay.
So, I should look into that for you for next time if we do this again.
Okay.
But it's always encouraged. Learning is always encouraged. If you saw on the task list under knowledge and experience, it said maintain your knowledge to industry standards. So you're always looking for seminars and workshops to attend to learn what's changing out there.
Do they pay for seminars and like that?
Yeah, we do pay for seminars up to a point. I mean, there's some guys in our office right now that want to go to a grounding seminar, but it's really expensive and it's out of state. So we kind of look at that and determine if it's worth it. But if it's a local seminar for just a little bit, we pay for the whole thing or a portion of it. We also encourage membership in local organizations such as MCEES, where it's a group that meets maybe once a month, and they'll have seminars on different topics.
Any questions, guys? Anything about what? I mean, Todd is the face of the engineering part of what this program is meant to be. We had Dave Karski came last week, and he talked about the project management and the tracking from Parsons' point of view. And I thought it was really good.
Okay.
And now
Project
this is a
management, there's a
different
little
view.
bit different.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with construction rather than design, so it's a whole different animal there.
So hopefully that will throw some light. Anybody has any question, guys? For Todd? No?
I think it was a long weekend.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Todd.
All right, no
Appreciate
problem.
it. Thanks.
All right.
Hold on a second, Todd. Here, let me just.
I'm assuming you're going to play it back now, right?